Welcome to episode 27 of the Renault Master camper conversion. In this episode, I'm going to be building kitchen wall units. So we're going to be starting here and we're going to be copying this shape here. I already have my piece of timber cut to height, so it should fit in there somewhere, just about. So I'm going to transfer these measurements from this piece onto this one, and then we've got an exactly same piece mirrored in here. Now, I would have liked to put a cupboard door on here, but I have an ottoman bed, so this is the end of the bed, and the bed opens up. Now, we're restricted by two things. One being, as the bed comes up here, the frame, the bottom of the frame comes across here. I think it clears around here, so that's not a problem to have a door in here, the bottom here, and then maybe another door at the top. But I'm going to go against that idea, I think, because if someone is asleep in the bed and someone else wants to get up and make breakfast and they can't get into the cupboard because they can't open the door. So we're going to have probably an open face cupboard here, and here a shelf. So we're going to start with building this piece here, and I'll talk you through what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I hope you enjoy it. This piece has been cut and dry fitted. Just want to check it fits before I blowtorch it, and then I can finally fit it in place. I've also put this in just to see where it's going to come to. I'm still toying with the ideas of doors. So I think this bed comes a bit longer, so it might be over here, which will push this down a bit. But the idea is to see roughly where the doors would go. I would have to put a shelf in here to hide this. This is the best option, similar to what I've done on this side here. So then my idea was to have a door here and the top piece open. So yeah, depending on the size of the door, if we can get it to fit in there without being too much of an issue, then I might still go with that idea. And for the issue of someone being in bed and the bed being down, then that would be obviously not to put the cereal and stuff like that or breakfast stuff in this cupboard, because we still got another little cupboard underneath, and I might make something here, some sort of shelving unit in the corner. I'm going to put a wall unit across here, so it's going to be a higher one, just up to here most probably, to hide all this, and then I've got this backsplash to go over all that. So that's the next part of the kitchen anyway. So I'm working on this piece and I will figure out what I'm going to do with here, and then we're going to extend on and build this piece. It's taking shape now, but I'm going to have to stop with actually building the cupboard. I've made the bottom shelf, but I've not fixed it in yet. I need to blowtorch it, and then I'm going to have to put the panel on here, because the only way of getting it in is from above. So there's going to be a panel here, like a backsplash, and there's also going to be a socket in there. So I'm going to need to get the cable up through here and get this board cut. Unfortunately, I don't have the Arctic cable to do that at the moment. I didn't really plan very well with this one, so I've just ordered it. I'm waiting that to come, but I can cut all the components I need. I am pretty sure I'm going with the cupboard door now, so I've worked out that this would be the height of the door. The opening will be 500, so you can get doors that are 500 by 360, so that's 360 there from the top of the shelf. So I'm going to use a thicker piece of wood here. That's going to be the minimum size, which is about 1 inch. I think I have some 30mm, so I'll put that in there. So a nice thick shelf at the top there, so that will create the bottom of the cupboard and also get rid of this angle, and then the back will just have a piece over the back, and the same in there, like a backboard. I don't know what I'm going to make that out of yet, but that's where I'm at with this cupboard now. So I'm going to get cracking with this bottom piece, and then hopefully get this next shelf in. Got a few bits done now, so I put a batten across the bottom, which is what I'm going to glue my backsplash to. I've got my backsplash with my socket fitted, my back box fitted, should I say. I'm just waiting for the cable, and then I'll be able to glue that on there. It's not going to stay now. And then obviously I've got the bottom shelf, which I can't fit until I've fitted the backsplash. And then I have got the top shelf slash the top of the unit. So this is ready. I can fit this in now, so I'm going to do that. And once I've done that, then I'm going to start planning the back of the cupboard, what I'm going to do with it, and then I can get the thermal lining on the back there. I've made a start on the back wall. This part's going to be open, so I'm going to do it the same as these shelf reveals here. So what I've done is I've screwed some 18mm timber to that. I put glue on the back. The van sidewall is a bit bowed here, a bit curved, shall I say. So I put the glue behind there, and then I'm going to put another layer of this insulation along here, just obviously not all the way to the bottom, because it's only 8mm at the bottom, but because of the curvature in the van, I've kind of start about here. So more insulation the better, really, and that will also stop this from bouncing. I might put a bit of glue on the back of the tongue and groove. So I got my first piece cut. I'm gonna get it blowtorched and then get it fitted in there. But before I do that, I'm gonna get that bit of insulation on there. Got that bit of insulation in there now. A little bit of a lip in the middle, but the top and the bottom is flush, so that's going to sit all nicely there. So this one is ready. I blowtorched it, so I'm going to glue across the top there, because I can't get the hammer in there, and then a nail at each side will be enough. And then I got the middle one cut. I'm going to get that blowtorched, dry fit it in there, and then I can get the measurement for the bottom one. These two pieces are ready now. I have to put them in both together because I have to twist them in, and I wouldn't get enough twist on that bottom one. Bit of a difficult task, and I can't get it in yet because I've got to glue the bottom. I'm just going to check in for fitting, seeing how it fits. Marking it on the board above just to see if it's going to go in. I think it will, so I'm going to glue the bottom and then get these in. I had a bit of trouble on this one, so I couldn't turn it round there because I think the gap there to there is smaller than it is from the back there because it's at an angle. So I had to shave both the tongues down to literally a couple of millimeters. I had to shave some of the bottom off to get it in, and it was still a big struggle. Problem was I glued this one and nailed it on last night. So next time if I was going to do something like this, I wouldn't do it separately. I'd do it all in one go. I don't think I would be able to do all three together, clamp them together, maybe put some tape on the back and then put them in, because I've still got the same issue of turning. So unless I made a bit of clearance on the top, but oh well, it's done now. So it's just a bit of a learning curve. So next time I have to do something like that, I will take into consideration. So I've got a rough plan with what I'm doing here now. I am going to build a shelf sticking out here with a cupboard below. So the cupboard's not going to stick out that too far. The shelf comes out to here and the cupboard is over here somewhere. It'll go down. It sticks out more than this side. So I'll be putting this here and putting a curve on it so it matches sort of the back, but just a bigger curve, I think. I've put a noggin in there to draw on, basically, so I can work out and fix to. So I'm going to get the top shelf in first and then build down on this cupboard. So I'm going to be putting a 360 door on it, so I need to put the top in because I've got restricted by that little lip, so it makes sense to start there and work down. My cable has now come, so now I can get this bit of backsplash glued onto here and carry on with this cupboard. I've glued it all around there, and yeah, that's that job done. So now I can put this base in and the back of the cupboard and get this finished. Moving forward with the kitchen, so this top piece sticks out a lot more because there's going to be a shelf on top. I'm not going to put a door on there, it's just going to be open. And then this is going to be how far the cupboard sticks out, so obviously we don't want it in our face. This just clears my height, so I'm not going to be bashing my head on it. If you're a bit taller, it might be a bit of an issue, but it sits on this groove here, so it's set to that height. That's why I've done it there, which obviously clears most people's heads anyway. And yeah, I've got the bottom piece in, so that's how far the cupboard's going to stick out. So now I've got this, I've got nothing to measure off here, so put this in, and then I've got this line here. I'm going to curve this piece just to sort of give some sort of effect like I've done down there on the corners. It gives it extra support as well, just helps it all flow in together better. So yeah, now I've got these bottoms in, I'm going to start measuring and cutting the sides. So it's cut to length already, so I'm going to cut that up now, measure it and cut it up, and then fit this side, and then the same on that side. And then we have a cupboard. There's my side panel. It's a pretty complicated cut, so hopefully I've measured it right. I'm going to go and cut that out, and it should just slot in there. That's my side panel to my unit. that piece is cut for the other side. I'm just using it as a template to see if it fits in there. I know it should be the rough sort of shape, but it's like there's a few gaps, so I have just redrawn around it and add a little bit extra on there, so it's a lot easier for me to make this one. Don't have to measure everything. I've got sort of basically a template, so I'm going to cut that one out, and this one's already pre-drilled, so I'm going to screw it in there, and then quickly cut this one out, screw it in, and then that will be that actual cupboard complete, which is good. So I've put this cupboard together. I've also made this little side bit here, so it flows a bit better, gives a bit more support on this shelf. So now I'm gonna do the inside of the shelf, so I'm putting these boards to hide this thing. I'm just gonna put some foil tape over it, and then I'm gonna put some aluminium board over the top of that to create a little shelf, and then I'll probably put a bar across here, because otherwise everything's just gonna fall out there when you're driving. So if I put a bar across there to put everything in there, so I'm gonna make use of all that space. So I'm gonna get on with that, and not sure what I'm going to do around the top there. Maybe another board across the top. I might just leave it like that. That's one little shelf done. So the next one's ready. So I'm putting this hardboard with a bit of tape on the front. Literally just a bit too small. This is a bit of, you can see a bit of the hardboard at the bottom there. I might just put a little bit across the bottom of this one, just so you don't see it as well. Got some scrap bits there, so yeah, I might just run a piece across the bottom there, and then it will look a bit neater. Two little shelves are done. They come out nice. I'm probably going to stick a board up here and then just put the silver foil, wrap it round. Just looks a bit shit, to be honest. And then with this one, it's going to have side panels on like this to make it the right size for the door, and then possibly a panel over here, and then might just cut this out here, and then put another panel, another bit of insulation over the top so it looks flat, and then yeah, be ready for the doors, and then that will be the kitchen cupboards done. I've got the door on now, so I'm gonna have to get some caps for these, but I've had to drill new holes and work out the hinge positions. Got the handle on, I've got the latch on the door. I'm just working out where it goes on the frame now, so I can screw the keep on, and then that will be that one done for now, and then I'm going to move on to this one. This cupboard is now done, apart from this little panel that goes over here. I'll do that in a bit, it's not that important, but the main cupboard is built. Now moving on to this one. I had a bit of a change of plan with this one, so I had enough board to put this bottom in like this so it matches. Now I don't have enough to do the top, and plus I want to save material and save weight, so it's just going to have the wooden shelf on top. There's no point doubling up the wood, because it's going to be a wooden shelf anyway, to match in here. So, and the thickness was to get over the angle on this beam here. So that's that anyway. So this is screwed down, this one is screwed in. This is where the hinges are going, so I've put the screws behind where the hinges go. And I have got this next piece ready to cut, so I'm going to go and cut it, get that fitted, and then I should be able to get the door in this cupboard. And then again, I'm going to put another panel across here, get the other one done, and then that will be the kitchen cupboards done. Final piece of this cupboard is now built. So I've built these cupboards in a way that they can be, all the components can be removed, and then templated and refitted, so that when these get old and outdated, you can just take it all out, template it, cut new pieces and fit them all back in, and then you've got a brand new kitchen. And from Howdens, so the door sizes are standard. So it's a standard door in there. You'd have to reuse the hinges or buy some new ones, but the ones I have got are not Howdens, they are Inset ones, so that means that the door sits inside. Can I explain that? They're special hinges basically, because normally these will be end panels in the kitchen. I will show you with the bottom shelf if I can open it. So on Howdens, you've got the end panel here, the blue one, but then you have to have the carcass to screw the hinges to, and then this sits on top of the carcass. So I had to get new hinges because I didn't want to double up the amount of wood. That was only a small piece down there, so that was fine. But I didn't want to double up pieces of wood to build cupboards because we're adding more weight. So I'm going to get that screwed on, get these hinges on, get these two cupboards complete, and then move forward with the project. Just marking out the hinges on this next door. So these are about 4 inches in. That's too close. They're going to be too close together. So I've gone about 3 inches, actually 70 mil, which is just under 3 inches. So yeah, 70 mil, and then I've found the center of this hole, which is 21 mil from the edge. So I've marked that. I've drilled 2 small pilot holes, and then I'm going to use a Forstner drill bit, 35 mil, which is generally the size of hinges for kitchen cabinets. So you just drill it down till that bit is flat with the door, and you've got to be very careful not to go all the way through, because we don't want a hole through the door. It has a small point on there, but as long as you finish that flat bit is flush with the door, then your holes will be the right depth, and then your hinge will fit straight in there. The door frames are normally 2 mil, the cabinets are normally 2 mil bigger at the top and bottom, so I've gone 72 mil from the top and bottom, and then that will be perfectly aligned. And there is a bit of an adjustment on the hinges, so if it's half a millimetre out, then you can adjust it, and if the cupboards are a little bit unsquare, you can also adjust everything to fit. So yeah, I'm going to get these drilled, get these hinges worked out on here, and then get this door screwed up, then the handle, the latch, and then I'll move on to the back panels. When fitting these little catches, I like to use 2 of them to fit one. So I'll fit the whole unit on there like that, so I can line it up with the front of the door, and then I use another one. So obviously we got a lot mark back the thickness of the door, which is about 15 mil in this case, and then I'll use the other one like this, so I can get the position of it. So I'll line up the catch on that line, and obviously the reason I put it on there as well is so that I can close the door, mark the top and the bottom of the catch there, transfer them lines around, and then I know exactly where this little unit's got to go. So I'm going to get that screwed on there now, and then yeah, that'll be the doors done. Once I've drilled one hole, normally the top one, I'll then take the tape off, turn it around, and put the line that I drew on that edge. That will give me the right distance back, because we don't want to screw it over the tape. Now it's in position. I have already drilled the bottom hole, so I'll just screw it in and then take all the tape off, and it should be right. That is job done. I am going to use the bottom of this shelf that I cut originally, bottom of the unit, to fit in here as a shelf. Might as well make use of it. I've got it already. And yeah, I'm going to move on to doing these back pieces now. Just a bit of board over there, a bit of tape on it. It will look a bit neater. And then I cut out the middle of that insulation, put another layer on there, because there was a bump there. So you can still see it a bit, but it looks a lot better. And that will be the finished back. I'm not going to add anything in there, because it just adds more weight to the van. This panel is ready. I've left the tape full length, which was 4 inches or 100 millimeters. The panel is about 90 mil, so I'm going to glue the panel on, and then I'll roll the tape round the bottom after I've stuck it on there. Get a nice, neater finish. That's how that piece turned out. It looks much better than the panel that was there. So my next job is to put a shelf in here. I've got some this pine, so I'm going to use that. So I've marked 10 mil below halfway. I'm going to put shelf halfway. So I've got these little, I've got 2 of them so far, these little shelf supports. So I'll try and find some more. If not, I can get some from Howdens. So I will get them in there, go and cut the shelf, and then that is that cupboard complete, and we'll move on to the next one. I don't think I'll put a shelf in the next one, but I'm just going to put that panel across the top. Now fitted my shelf in there, and I've also fitted these little clips. They're a bit wonky, but when I've straightened them up, and then I'll put pressure on there just to mark their positions. So I'm going to get that out and drill the holes for them now, and then that will be that one done. I just fitted that panel in the top there, and now it looks a lot neater. I'm going to leave them white bits as they are. The shelves are white. It kind of looks okay. So that's that cupboard done, and now we have completed our kitchen cupboards, kitchen wall units. So I'm happy with the outcome. I have got some usable space and a shelf up there, which I'm going to put some plants or something like that to make it look nice, but I'm not going to bother decorating the van yet until I have got all this done. I need to do something with that bit there and finish this boxing above. I can do now what the cupboard is built, and then I'm going to get all that wood there varnished.